So in order to load the model in, the first thing I'm going to do is to go into the retop room, and I'm going to import the model as a retop mesh. And I'm going to find my pig, and I'm going to scale him up, and I'm also going to hold control to rotate, and that will force the pig to be rotated 90 degrees. And let's just position him roughly on the ground, and then hit apply. And it will come up with this warning. I want to say no, because I don't want this model to try and snap to something that isn't there. But you can load topology models and have them snap to your voxel surface. We don't need that. So here's the pig loaded, and as you can see, we have stretching along this joint area here, because basically he's been planar projected. And you'll also notice that the tail is a different color from the body because it's a separate element. Now, if I remember correctly and zoom into this tail, hit F, F will target whatever you've got the cursor under and will enable you to rotate around that point. And the first thing I notice is that we have a spare polygon inside here that we'll never get to see. So I'm going to go to my delete polygons. I'm going to click on it and the polygon disappears. So that's one less polygon to unwrap. Still, the piggy will be a separate element. Can't delete any more polys because even though it's tempting to go and delete these, they are visible from the outside. Okay, so now I am ready to mark the seams. So I just go down into the menu and I go mark seams. You can either use mark seams, which is individual edges, or you can use edge loops. And again, if the model is nicely built, the edge loops will form part of the UV unwrap. So what I want to do is I want to detach the bottom of the feet first. That's a fairly standard process. So I'm going to turn the grid off. And you'll see that by using the edge loop, it will select at least a couple of edges at the same time. So I'm just going to go around and click. Now, once I complete a section, it will change color. So we now, if I hover over this underside of the foot, you can see in the UV preview on the right that we have a good UV layout for the underside of this foot. And if I go up to the other area of the pig, you can see on the UV layout, it's a big mess. Let's do the other foot at the back. And again, if I hover over it, you can see it's got good UVs. It's gray. And same here. And let's do the front trotters. And again, good UV out, good UV layout. The different elements do randomly change color. You have to get used to it, but it certainly helps you identify the different UV islands because they're all different colors. The other thing I want to do is remove each leg. So I'm going to mark a seam on the inside. And then I want to basically find a good loop that will be useful for each of the legs. So notice that this loop ran off and went around to the other side of the pig. That's not going to be a problem. This one, and this one. And then on the other side, this one. So we now have two legs. This leg and this leg. We can update the UV by doing an unwrap. And you can see that we now have these sections are laid out And what we're looking for is an even color, a kind of a neutral gray. You can see this, which is the main body of the pig, is still a huge mess. And that, I suspect, is the tail. Okay, let's go and do the rear legs. Okay, so this is the rear leg. And this is the other one. Again, in the UV preview, we can see that it's done a decent job of laying that out flat. Right, I've got this extra seam here. If I hold Control and click, it will go away. And notice it didn't remove the rest of the seam because it's intelligent enough to go, well, we're already using that bit. You can force it to remove seams. If I go into Mark Seams and Control and click this one, you'll see that it rejoins the leg. Okay, the next thing I think I will do is the tail. So using the edge loop, I can select one seam that will run all the way along the tail. And then I really need to mark off this end piece because, as you can see in the UV, it's a bit twisted right at the end. So I'm just going to go to Mark Seams and split those three edges. And you'll see that we now have a pretty good clean unwrap of the tail. Okay, the next area that's probably going to be important will be the face. Let's go to edge loops again and let's take that. I'm going to put that back in, even though we removed it. And then I'm probably going to go around his ears. And across his forehead. And this looks okay, but there's a bit of distortion around his snout. And the body looks pretty good, but we do need a big seam to split the body. So let's put a seam on the underside. And that's gone all the way around, split him into two pieces. So the two pieces look good, but it's too much. I'm going to join him at the top and see. So I'm going to Control click to join those two pieces back together. And you can probably see as I do this, I get more red in the UV unwrap because it's trying to stitch pieces together and you'll get compression. So if I split that seam, you'll see that we get a different shape and it kind of goes grayer. I'm going to be happy with something like that. And then the nose probably also, let's just split that and see how well that works. Right, let's do a quick unwrap. Let's check for checker patterns. So we want squares everywhere. They look pretty good. And we can see the UV layout. So red and blue mean stretching and compression. This looks pretty much okay because I'm not too worried about the geometry. If I go in into faces mode, I can actually select faces and find out where they are on the model. Where is it? There. Oh, they're up there, up on the hind. So that's okay. I'm not too worried about that. So that is the pig unwrapped.